Welcome to Around the Pound. I'm your host, Kari Trott, and this is your source for Bulldogs news. Bulldogs players and volunteers donate their time to collect donations for the Salvation Army. Kari Trott wins the Pack Your Bags contest. Smiles were written on the faces of the elderly when the Bulldogs delivered the teddy bears from the teddy bear toss. David Dziurzynski signs with the Utica Comets. Keaton Mastronato has committed to Kansas College. What got you into coaching? Have you always been on the bench?
No, certainly haven't always been. Grew up playing the game. Was forced to retire when I was 23 years old, and I was working at a store in Penticton at the time, and an old billet that I used to have there came in one day and just asked if I'd be interested in coaching the local Bantam AAA team that year. And I said, you know what, it's a good way to stay in the game, why not, and gave it a shot. And we had some good success that year with a real good group of kids, and then after that season the phone started ringing with junior opportunities, so I decided to take a run at it and work hard and get involved in the Hockey Canada coaching programs and get involved with BC Hockey and just try and acquire as much information as I could, and then a few stops along the way and I find myself here in Port Alberni.
When you played hockey, what kind of player were you?
I was a defenseman, two-way guy, probably more on the offensive end of it. Was probably a pretty competitive guy, I'd like to think. That's how people would describe me, and just enjoyed the game. Loved it from the first time I can remember ever playing it, and still do to this day.
Describe your coaching style.
Coaching style, I would say pretty direct. I mean, we try and lay it out as black and white as possible for the guys as far as expectations. I tried to become a better communicator over the years and really try and spend some one-on-one time with the guys, and if there is an issue or something we want fixed, you try and nip it in the bud and get at it and find a solution right away. I guess I'm more of a guy that looks on the positive end of things and tries to focus on what people are doing right and what we're doing right as a team, and while identifying problems and trying to find solutions as soon as possible.
Congrats to Marilyn on winning the 2018 dollars. Bulldogs trade Ryan Steele in exchange for Spencer Hora and futures. Bulldogs commit Dawson Tritt for the 2018-19 season. John Hawthorne gets BCHL Player of the Week. Chris Schutz scores his first goal for the UMASS Lowell Riverhawks.
The best thing about volunteering for your hometown team is, like I said, you get to help people out. Whether it's assisting somebody who needs assistance or just setting up or whatever, you're giving back to your community. So it's always a good feeling.
What are your top 5 memorable moments of Bulldogs hockey?
Oh, my top 5. Okay, well, I'd have to say seeing a full rink during playoffs. That was definitely one of my top 5. Going on the Bulldogs volunteers bus trips, those were definitely fun, so that'd be number 2. Number 3 was when they were on their big winning streak there, just hearing the fans counting down, the wins. That was probably my number 3. My number 4 was seeing Alberni win the Island Championships a few years back. That was enjoyable. And I'd have to say seeing my very first Alberni Valley Bulldog game was probably I'd have to say my number 1. It was definitely enjoyable.
The Alberni Valley Bulldogs would like to thank all the kids who took part in the Score with Reading program this season through Literacy Alberni. Bulldogs sign 18-year-old defenseman Lucas Patton. Billy Christopoulos is named one of the NCAA Men's Hockey Stars of the Week. The Bulldogs trade Connor Welsh to the Trail Smoke Eaters in exchange for future considerations. Trevor Cosgrove is named Student Athlete of the Week. I am Kari Trott, and thanks for tuning in to Around the Pound.